Okay, so we got Ted sitting in front of us here, and we're going to do something like Avern does, 5 things. He always goes, hey, I got 5 things for you. Then he points his finger and he goes, it's you. Hey, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, you.
You hear me? All right, so we're going to do 5 things that may not go well on your first trip to a mountain. And there's in no particular order. In other words, it's not whatever Ted said, and there's 5 things. It's not top to bottom. It's just 5 ideas that he's going to throw at you now. Well, what we want to find out is you as the person coming, if you haven't had that experience,
Yes, you want to know
then
this.
you've got some oncoming
All
problems.
right, let's start this over.
No, we're good.
Okay.
So number 2, what's your number 2?
A familiarity with equipment. So equipment's coming up. You want to be familiar with it.
Okay.
Somehow.
And number 3.
Number 3 is you want to know how fit you are. You want to know if you've done other things that may,
That will
bleed
help
over
you to tie into this
that'll help
plan.
you over. That you want to know that because you're gonna need to be fit.
Number 4.
Number 4 is it would be good to know what the conditions would be like when you arrive. So there you might go to a website and see, are they grooming it, or was there a dump of snow? If you've never done this before and you go out and there's a new foot of snow and they haven't groomed it, you're in for an experience.
And number 5.
And number 5, there's got to be 5. Where am I?
You were at a number 4. Something you can think of that will not go well for that person, or may not go well.
Don't expect
There you go.
you to be immediately proficient.
There you go.
Don't expect those things. Give yourself some grace. You want to find an instructor that has patience, and
Whether
work,
it be an instructor or a
and-
friend of the family, whoever is mediating for you and mentoring you, not teaching you, but mentoring you, meaning that they're helping you along.
right. And
Because
he didn't
most
say pushing you along. And
Right.
we don't go pushing people too much on the snow. Yeah.
most parents, most people bringing people out and these people have had some experience, snow or ski, are apt to think that you are them. And because they can do it, just listen to me, I'll tell you what to do, and it should work. And we find that time after time after time.
That's
And
not
it is
necessarily the
absolutely
case.
not true.
Yeah.
So I'm going to slide over here and get in, because I can't do it without a list, because I wrote my list out. Because the original plan is Ted and somebody else were going to be here, and each one of them was going to go through a thing unbeknown to whatever, but I was going to give them the opportunity to write it down and whatever and be prepared. So obviously I prepared a little more. So for me, number 1.
That's the number.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. Prepare a little more.
There you go. No prior snow experience of any type. I didn't come from snow. I'm from Ecuador or whatever. I'm from Mexico, and boo, snow, frio. Are you crazy? So I've never really had the opportunity to experience what snow feels like, what it tastes like, what it looks like, and what's going to happen when I get into it.
Yeah.
So that creates an area that I'm just going to call a high level of fear. It's the unknown. We all fear the unknown. It's a fact.
It's also going to create a distraction factor.
Yes, yes.
Because somebody's going to
Because
be there and
I'm
their head's
talking
gonna
and
be,
you're like, oh my
wow,
God, you're
wow,
watching people go by and we'll go, why am I here?
Yeah.
All right, number 2, you're doing it to make somebody else happy.
Motivation.
My boyfriend told me, not me, I don't have a boyfriend, but my boyfriend, this is the lady talking, brought me here so that I can learn to do this with him. I'm afraid that I might not be able to, and he's not going to be happy, or my dad's not going to be happy, or the instructor's not going to be happy, and then of course I'm not going to be happy. So it's extra pressure that you brought with you on that day because you think you need to perform. And Ted mentioned that on the last thing he said, number 5, when he talked about performance, capabilities. We're not all the same. I don't care what the book says about our knees, our joints, and all that stuff. And I'm talking to you. They're all different lengths. The book says certain things work, but mechanically speaking, there are changes because of length of bones, the bulk of muscle, the lack, so many variable factors. So that's all part of it. Number 3 for me, not an active person, and Ted mentioned that. they whatever. So I'm telling you right now, if you plan to snowboard and you're not an active person, and you're not talking to Ted and I because we're overly active and we're reactive, would be that you need to get the work done to prepare for that day at home before you decide to show up. Because I can tell you, and Ted can tell you, what are you going to be doing a lot of?
Yeah, up and downs.
Up and down. Getting up from the very lowest part of the ground, if you go face first, or if you go back towards your neck, laying on your back looking up at the sky, you're going to have to get up with some of the strangest gear attached to one of your legs while you figure out how to roll, find the uphill side, and push yourself back up on your feet. So you are going to sweat and use muscles that we don't use because we're used to it, and we're prepared to know that we got to get off that ground when we fall. All right. Number 4, you borrowed that equipment from your very best friend. You're 6'4", your friend is 5 foot tall, got a short board and tiny feet. Yeah. And you don't try it on in your house before you go. Your friend said, yeah, go ahead, use it, just borrow, it's no big deal. But you haven't even tried it on. You don't know how it snaps up. You don't know if you can get your foot in it or not. You don't know if it's too long, too short. You can't tell. So no matter what your friend lets you borrow, let your friend help you put it on.
Yeah, get some
to
guidance.
Both feet and some guidance before you come to the mountain with it. Yeah. And we go, that ain't going to work.
Whoa.
All right. Number 5, and Ted mentioned this too. So we see, even without talking, we're getting some interlock of the thought process for what's going to mess up your day. And we know for a fact that on a heavy snow day, and it snowed the night before and the parking lot's full, sometimes they don't get around to grooming the bunny slope in the areas that you should be restricted to. They don't do it. It hasn't happened because they've got too much to worry about on the bulk of the mountain. So no grooming. So call ahead of time if there's been a big storm. If there's a lot of heavy snow, they didn't groom. Just like in South Park, you're going to have a bad time. All right. Also, notice something that happened on all this information that I'm going to paraphrase here. All of the above and everything that Ted said is about knowledge. Do your homework on knowledge, on everything we mentioned, plus anything else you can think of, before you plan to go to the mountain and avoid problems. And you will find that what we've just went through here for you guys is not something you're probably going to hear on a lot of other channels. Because we're about people, and we're about results, and we're about having a fun day.
Another piece about that knowledge is if you going an off season, or you're going to YouTube and you're watching people do fantastic things, that's not knowledge, that's entertainment, and you get to watch them do fantastic things.
Correct.
You don't even consider that you're ever going to do that, certainly not on your first day, but you're ever going to do it. You're going to do the steps. You're going to come to the mountain and learn the steps that's going to take you to where you have some comfort out there to play.
Correct.
And then you can maybe investigate doing some of these tricks or strange things, or what is this person saying when they make some odd reference, and you want to know how that's going to improve your boarding.
Yeah.
You need to build a foundation to work from.
So we're going to close on what he just said.
And that's
he brought up the word foundation. which actually ties into the other word, fundamentals. You'll hear Avron talk about it, and people go, why aren't I getting any better? And he'll go, because you don't have any darn fundamentals.
Yeah.
You don't have them yet. No matter what you plan to do or want to do, you need fundamentals and the understanding of them in order to be successful. So we're going to close on that. The next time we put a video out, we're going to talk about foundations and fundamentals. So stay with us, and you eventually, hopefully this year, will actually shred ahead. Because we are a learning channel, not an entertainment channel.
There you go.